Nathan Clark loved the night sky. That was why he had chosen to work at the small observatory in New Mexico, far from the bright lights of any big city. Out here, the stars shone like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Tonight had been a good night of work. He had tracked several interesting objects and recorded data that would keep him busy for days. It was nearly 2 a.m. when Nathan finally locked up the observatory dome and walked the short path to his cabin. The wooden structure was small but comfortable, with just enough room for his bed, books, and basic needs. Perfect for a man who spent most of his time looking at the stars. Another day, another mystery, he mumbled to himself as he kicked off his shoes and collapsed onto his bed. He didn't even bother changing out of his clothes. Within minutes, the exhausted astronomer was fast asleep. The dream came first. Nathan found himself floating in space, surrounded by stars that seemed too bright, too close. They pulsed with life, as if trying to speak to him. Then one star grew brighter than the others, expanding until its blue light filled his vision. Nathan jolted awake, but the blue light remained. His small bedroom was filled with a soft, pulsing, blue glow. It wasn't coming from his window or any of his equipment. The light seemed to hover in the center of the room, growing brighter and taking shape. Nathan sat up in bed, his heart hammering against his ribs. He wanted to run, but his body wouldn't move. The light condensed, forming a tall humanoid figure. As the brightness dimmed, Nathan could see her clearly, because the being was definitely female, though unlike any woman he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like mother of pearl with hints of blue and silver. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a slender body that seemed both fragile and powerful. Her face was almost human, but her eyes contained what looked like swirling galaxies. Nathan tried to speak but could only manage a choked gasp. The figure smiled. Even that simple expression seemed otherworldly. "Do not be afraid, Nathan Clark," she said, her voice melodic and clear. There was no movement of her lips, yet he heard her perfectly, inside his head. What are you?" Nathan finally managed, pressing himself against the wall behind his bed. "I am Ilara, Queen of the Vexirian Empire," the being said, making a graceful gesture with long, 6-fingered hands. "I apologize for frightening you. Direct contact was necessary." Nathan blinked rapidly, trying to process what was happening. An actual alien was standing in his bedroom. Either that or he was having the most vivid hallucination of his life. "This is real, Nathan," Ilara said, responding to his unspoken doubt. "Your mind is not deceiving you. How do you know my name? Why are you here? Why me?" The questions tumbled out as Nathan's scientific curiosity began to overcome his fear. Queen Ilara moved closer, her feet not quite touching the floor. The air around her smelled faintly of ozone and something sweet that Nathan couldn't identify. "I know many things about you, Nathan Clark. I know you have spent your life looking to the stars. I know you feel a connection to them that you cannot explain. I know you have dreams of worlds beyond your own." Nathan swallowed hard. Those dreams had been with him since childhood. Dreams so vivid that sometimes waking up to Earth felt like the real dream. "As for why you," Ilara continued, "you carry something special in your blood. A genetic marker that makes you receptive to our telepathic communication. Such humans are rare." Nathan's mind raced. "There are others like me? Yes, but scattered. Few. And fewer still who would believe what is happening even if they saw me as you do now." Nathan looked at his hands, then back at the alien queen. "And what exactly is happening?" Queen Ilara's expression grew serious. "I have been watching Earth for centuries, Nathan. My people have observed humanity's progress from your first civilizations to your current technological age. We have remained hidden, as is our way. But now, something has changed. A danger approaches, one that threatens both our peoples." A small device on Ilara's wrist began to pulse with red light. She glanced at it, her galaxy eyes narrowing. "I must be brief. The energy required to maintain this form is immense, and my presence here may be detected." "Detected by whom?" Your own people? Queen Ilara nodded. Not all Vexirians believe as I do. Some would prefer to let events unfold without intervention. What events? What danger? Nathan was fully alert now, his fear replaced by urgent curiosity. You are not alone in the universe, Nathan. This you suspected. But what you do not know is that you are not merely one species among many. Humanity has a special place in the cosmic order, a potential that frightens even some of my own kind. The red pulsing on her wrist device grew faster. I must go, but I will return tomorrow night. Be alone, be ready. Wait, Nathan reached out. You can't just... But Queen Ilara was already fading, her form dissolving into motes of blue light that swirled like fireflies before vanishing completely. The room returned to darkness, leaving Nathan sitting upright in bed, breathing hard. Had it been real? The faint smell of ozone lingered in the air. Nathan switched on his bedside lamp and looked around. Nothing seemed disturbed, yet something had changed. The world felt different now, bigger and more mysterious than ever before. Sleep was impossible after that. Nathan paced his small cabin until sunrise, his mind buzzing with questions. When morning came, he made himself the strongest coffee possible and sat at his small kitchen table trying to make sense of what had happened. Genetic markers, telepathic communication, cosmic danger, he muttered to himself. Either I'm losing my mind, or everything we think we know about the universe is wrong. As a scientist, Nathan needed evidence. He pulled out his laptop and began researching unusual astronomical phenomena from the previous night. Nothing appeared in the official records, but on a few amateur astronomer forums, people reported seeing a brief blue flash in the sky over New Mexico. Later that day, Nathan went to the observatory earlier than usual. His colleague, Olivia Martinez, noticed the dark circles under his eyes. Rough night? She asked, handing him a fresh cup of coffee. Nathan hesitated. Should he tell someone? Would anyone believe him? Just couldn't sleep, he said finally. Too many thoughts. About the Peterson Comet data? I know. It's showing some weird patterns. Yeah, something like that, Nathan murmured. Throughout the day, Nathan found himself distracted, checking his watch constantly. Would Queen Ilara really return tonight? What secrets would she reveal? And what danger could possibly threaten an advanced civilization like hers, and Earth at the same time? As the sun began to set, Nathan made an excuse to leave early. Olivia gave him a concerned look but didn't question him. Back at his cabin, he prepared himself as best he could. He set up a small camera, hoping to capture evidence of the alien queen's visit. He wrote down all the questions swimming in his head. Then he waited as darkness fell and the stars emerged. I'm ready, he whispered to the empty room. Come back and tell me everything. Outside his window, a single star seemed to pulse blue in response. Nathan spent the entire day in a state of nervous excitement. He kept checking his small camera setup, making sure it would capture whatever happened tonight. Several times he almost called Olivia to tell her everything, but stopped himself. She was a good friend and brilliant scientist, but even she would think he had lost his mind without proof. As the sun set, Nathan sat on the edge of his bed, waiting. The hours ticked by slowly. By midnight, doubt began to creep in. Had he imagined the whole thing? Was his mind playing tricks after too many late nights studying the stars? Just as he was about to give up and go to sleep, the air in his room began to tingle with electricity. His skin prickled with goosebumps. The familiar blue light started to form in the center of the room, growing brighter until he had to shield his eyes. When the light faded, Queen Ilara stood before him once again. Tonight she wore what looked like armor, a form-fitting suit that shimmered with the same pearly blue glow as her skin. Her galaxy eyes seemed darker, more serious. You came back, Nathan said, his voice barely above a whisper. I promised I would. The Queen's voice sounded in his mind again. She glanced at his camera and made a small gesture. The device sparked once, then went dark. I'm sorry, but no recordings can exist of our meetings. It's for your protection, as much as mine. Nathan felt a stab of disappointment but nodded. I understand, I think. Ilara moved to the window and looked up at the night sky. Your stars look different from down here. On my world, we see your sun as just another distant point of light. How far away is your world? Nathan asked, joining her at the window. Your measurement's about 70 light years. Close enough to watch, far enough to remain undetected by your technology. She turned to face him. But distance is the least of what separates us, Nathan Clark. What I have to tell you tonight will change how you see everything. Your world, your history, yourself. Nathan took a deep breath. I'm ready. Queen Ilara reached out and lightly touched his forehead with one six-fingered hand. Immediately, images flooded Nathan's mind. Vast cities with towering crystal spires, ships moving through space without engines, beings like Ilara, but with different colorations and features, all working together in harmony. This is my home, her voice explained as the images flowed. The Vexirian Empire spans 27 star systems and includes 12 sentient species working together. We have existed as a unified civilization for over 50,000 of your years. The images shifted to show Earth, but not the Earth. Nathan knew. This was Earth millions of years in the past before humans existed. He watched as ships descended from the sky, as Vexirian scientists collected samples and released something into the early oceans. Your people were not an accident of evolution, Nathan. Humans were seeded on Earth by the Vexirians as part of what we called the Grand Experiment. Nathan pulled away from her touch, breaking the mental connection. That's impossible. We evolved from primates. We have fossil records, DNA evidence. All true, Ilara said calmly. We did not create humans from nothing. We simply guided the process, added certain genetic sequences to your most promising ancestors. Sequences that lie dormant in most humans to this day. Nathan's mind reeled with questions. Dormant sequences, what do they do? And why? Why interfere with our evolution at all? Ilara's expression softened. To understand that, you must understand more about us. The Vexirians are an old species. Nathan, we mastered space travel when your ancestors were still using stone tools, but our evolution came at a cost. We lost something essential along the way. The ability to adapt quickly, to think in new ways. Our technological progress began to slow. She touched his forehead again, and this time Nathan saw images of his own ancestors, cave people, ancient Egyptians, medieval knights, all the way to modern humans. In each era, there were moments when ordinary humans suddenly displayed extraordinary abilities, healing from mortal wounds, knowing things they couldn't possibly know, demonstrating impossible strength or speed in times of crisis. Throughout your history, these dormant abilities have occasionally surfaced, Ilara explained. When they did, my people were watching. We guided your species from the shadows, nudging your technological development when needed, always hoping to see what you would become. The mental images faded, and Nathan found himself back in his small cabin, staring at the alien queen with new understanding. So humans are some kind of experiment? A project? He couldn't keep the hurt from his voice. No, Ilara said firmly. You became much more than that. You evolved in ways we never predicted. Your capacity for creativity, for adaptive thinking, for emotional connection, these qualities developed far beyond our expectations. You became something new, something with potential even we don't fully understand. Nathan walked to his small kitchen table and sat down heavily. This is a lot to take in. But you mentioned a danger yesterday. What does all this have to do with that? Ilara's face darkened. The danger is why I'm breaking our most sacred laws by revealing myself to you. Another species, one we call the Harvesters, is approaching your solar system. She created a small holographic projection in the air, between them, a massive ship shaped like a jagged blade, dark and threatening. The Harvesters consume planets rich in life. They extract genetic material from every living thing, then reduce the planet to raw materials for their fleet. They've already destroyed 3 of our colony worlds on the outer edges of our empire. And they're coming here? To Earth? Nathan felt cold fear spreading through his chest. Yes. We detected their scout ships entering your solar system 2 months ago. The main fleet will arrive within half a year. Nathan stood up so quickly his chair fell backward. Then we need to warn people. The governments, the military, Earth needs to prepare. Ilara shook her head sadly. Your weapons would be useless against them. Even our advanced technology has failed to stop their advance. Then why tell me at all? Why not just let us live in ignorance until the end comes? Queen Ilara's galaxy eyes fixed on him intently. Because humans have something unique, Nathan. Your genetic makeup has evolved in unexpected ways. You carry within you the potential to defeat the Harvesters, if we can unlock it in time. She stepped closer, her presence making the air hum with energy. Those dormant DNA sequences I spoke of, they can be activated. And you, Nathan Clark, with your specific genetic markers, are compatible with the activation process. You will be the first. Nathan stared at her, trying to process everything. The first what? The first awakened human, Ilara said. The first of your kind to access abilities your species was always meant to have. If we succeed with you, we can awaken others, enough, perhaps to save both our worlds. The device on Ilara's wrist began to pulse red again. She looked at it with frustration. I must go. The Vexirian High Council monitors unusual energy signatures on Earth. They would not approve of my contact with you. Wait, Nathan called, as she began to fade. You're going against your own people to help us? Queen Ilara's form was already becoming transparent, but her voice remained clear in Nathan's mind. The Council wishes to sacrifice Earth to distract the Harvesters while they strengthen our core defenses. I believe this is wrong. You deserve a chance to fight for your world, Nathan Clark. Tomorrow night, we begin your awakening. With those words, she vanished completely, leaving Nathan alone with revelations that shook the foundations of human history, and a terrible knowledge of what was coming. He looked up at the night sky through his window. Somewhere up there, the enemy approached, and somewhere else an alien queen was risking everything to help humanity face its greatest challenge. What have I gotten myself into? Nathan whispered to the stars. But deep inside, he already knew the answer. The beginning of humanity's true destiny. Nathan barely slept that day. How could anyone sleep after learning that aliens had shaped human evolution and that planet-eating monsters were heading toward Earth? He called in sick to the observatory, claiming he had a bad stomach bug. Olivia sounded concerned but didn't question him. As the day passed, Nathan paced his small cabin, looking up at the sky every few minutes. Were the Harvester scout ships up there right now? Watching? Planning? The thought made his skin crawl. When night finally fell, Nathan was ready. He had cleared the center of his living room, moving furniture against the walls to create an open space. He didn't know what this awakening process would involve, but he wanted to be prepared. At exactly midnight, the air began to shimmer. This time Nathan wasn't afraid. He stepped forward as the blue light condensed into Queen Ilara's form. "You're certain about this?" were her first words, spoken directly into his mind. Nathan nodded. "If there's even a small chance it could help save Earth, I have to try." Ilara studied him, her galaxy eyes seeming to look straight through to his soul. "The process is not without risk. It will be painful. Your mind will be flooded with memories, not your own. Some humans might not survive the shock. But you think I will? Your genetic markers are the strongest I've seen. You were born for this, Nathan Clark, whether you knew it or not." She reached into a small pouch at her waist and removed what looked like a crystal, about the size of a golf ball. It pulsed with inner blue light, the same color that surrounded Ilara herself. "This is a memory crystal," she explained. "It contains the collective knowledge of Vexirian history, technology, and our war against the Harvesters. It also contains the activation sequence for your dormant DNA." Nathan eyed the crystal nervously. "What do I do with it?" Just hold it. The rest will happen on its own." With a deep breath, Nathan reached out and took the crystal. At first, nothing happened. Then, the crystal grew warm in his palm, its blue light spreading up his arm like glowing veins. The warmth became heat, then burning pain. Nathan gasped but held on. Suddenly, his mind exploded with images. Thousands of years of Vexirian history compressed into moments. He saw their rise from a primitive species to masters of the stars. He witnessed their first contact with other, alien races, the formation of their empire, their technological achievements. Then came darker visions, the first appearance of the Harvesters 50 years ago, the destruction of Vexirian colony worlds, the desperate battles in space where even advanced Vexirian ships fell to the Harvesters' terrible weapons. Nathan fell to his knees, the crystal still clutched in his hand. It felt like his skull would split open from the rush of information. Through the pain, he was dimly aware of Ilara kneeling beside him, her cool hand on his forehead. "Stay with it," her voice urged in his mind. "You're doing well. Your brain is adapting." The pain began to fade, replaced by a strange tingling sensation that spread throughout his body. Nathan became aware of new sensations. He could feel the electromagnetic fields from his laptop and phone. He could sense the radio waves passing through the air from distant stations. Most shocking of all, he could perceive shapes outside, dark, angular forms orbiting high above Earth. The Harvester scout ships, invisible to human technology but now clear to his enhanced perception. After what seemed like hours but might have been minutes, the process ended. The crystal in Nathan's hand went dark and crumbled to dust. He looked up at Queen Ilara with new eyes that could now see the complex energy patterns flowing through her body. "I can see," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Everything is different." Ilara helped him to his feet. "Your dormant abilities are awakening. It will take time for you to adjust and learn to control them." Nathan walked to the window, his movements awkward as he adjusted to his new perceptions. The night sky was transformed. He could see wavelengths of light that had been invisible to him before. Stars that had once been mere points now revealed complex energy signatures. "I can see the Harvester ships," he said quietly. "They're up there, watching us. Yes. Scout vessels, mapping your world for the main fleet." Nathan turned back to her. "What happens now? What exactly can I do with these abilities?" "You can perceive radio waves and electromagnetic fields. You can communicate telepathically with me across vast distances. You can process information faster than any normal human, and there will be more abilities that emerge as your awakening continues." Nathan closed his eyes, trying to process it all. When he opened them, he had made a decision. "I need to tell someone. I can't do this alone." Ilara frowned. "It's dangerous to involve others. The Vexirian Council." "We're not fighting just the Harvesters now," Nathan interrupted. "We're fighting time, and your council, and human disbelief. I need help from someone I trust." After a moment of hesitation, Ilara nodded. "Choose carefully. Who do you have in mind?" "Olivia Martinez, my colleague at the observatory. She has one of the sharpest minds I know, and she already works with advanced technology. If anyone will believe me and be able to help, it's her." The next morning, Nathan called Olivia and asked her to come to his cabin after work. He spent the day practicing with his new abilities, learning to filter the overwhelming sensory input. By evening, he could focus enough to function normally, though certain electronic devices still gave him headaches when he got too close. When Olivia arrived, her first words were, "You look terrible. Are you really sick?" Nathan took a deep breath. "Not sick, changed." "Olivia, I need to show you something, and it's going to sound crazy." He started by demonstrating his new abilities, describing the exact contents of her backpack without looking. Inside, detecting the text messages arriving on her phone before it chimed, drawing accurate diagrams of the Harvester ships orbiting Earth. At first, Olivia was skeptical, thinking it was an elaborate prank. But as Nathan revealed more and more, things he couldn't possibly know, Her scientific curiosity took over. "This is impossible," she said, watching as he sketched the complex internal structure of her digital watch. "How are you doing this?" "It's a long story. The short version is, aliens are real. They've been watching Earth for millions of years, and now we're in danger." Over the next hour, Nathan told her everything about Queen Ilara, the Vexirians, humanity's true origins, and the approaching harvester threat. To her credit, Olivia listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "You realize how this sounds," she finally said. "Completely insane." "I know. But it's real, Olivia. And tonight, you can meet Ilara yourself." Olivia paced the small cabin, her scientific mind struggling with the implications. "If what you're saying is true, we need to alert the authorities, the government. With what proof? They'd think we're crazy. We need more. More awakened humans, more evidence. Ilara says there are others like me with the right genetic markers. We need to find them." As the sun set, Nathan felt a familiar presence in his mind. Queen Ilara, connecting with him telepathically from wherever she was hiding. "She's coming," he told Olivia. Olivia's eyes widened. "How do you know?" "I can feel her. In my mind." Nathan tapped his temple. Another new trick. When the blue light formed in the center of the room, Olivia stumbled backward, her face pale with shock. As Queen Ilara appeared in her full ethereal beauty, Olivia could only stare open-mouthed. "Dr. Martinez." Ilara's voice sounded in both their minds. "Nathan speaks highly of your intelligence and courage. We need both if we are to save your world." Olivia found her voice at last. You're really... Oh my God." Nathan put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "I know. It takes some getting used to." Queen Ilara moved closer, her expression grave. "Time grows short. The Harvester main fleet approaches faster than we predicted. And I have discovered something troubling. The Vexirian High Council knows of my actions here. They have branded me a traitor." Nathan felt cold dread spreading through him. "What does that mean?" "It means," Ilara said sadly, "that we now face enemies on two fronts. The Harvesters who would destroy your world, and my own people, who would sacrifice it." The next few weeks passed in a blur of activity. Using the observatory equipment, Nathan and Olivia tracked the Harvester scout ships while Queen Ilara helped them modify their computer systems to detect the approaching main fleet. "We need more people," Olivia said one night as they worked. "Two humans and one alien queen versus two alien armies aren't great odds." Nathan nodded. Since his awakening, his abilities had grown stronger daily. He could now sense electronic signals from miles away, and his telepathic connection with Ilara remained strong even when she was on the other side of the planet. "Ilara says there are others with the right genetic markers," he said. "We just need to find them." Using blood samples that Olivia secretly collected from the hospital where her sister worked, they tested for the special genetic markers. After scanning hundreds of samples, they found 3 matches. Steve Johnson was a former Air Force pilot who now worked as a flight instructor. When they approached him, he admitted he'd always had unusually quick reflexes and an uncanny ability to sense mechanical problems in aircraft before they happened. Samantha Woods was a brilliant engineer who designed clean energy systems. She had a reputation for talking to machines, somehow knowing exactly what was wrong with complex systems without running diagnostics. The most surprising was Kyle Bennett, a 15-year-old math prodigy who had been having strange dreams about stars and numbers for years. His parents were hesitant until Kyle himself insisted on meeting Nathan after experiencing a vivid dream about the Harvesters. One by one, with Queen Ilara's help, they underwent the awakening process. Each reacted differently. Steve gained enhanced reflexes and spatial awareness that made him virtually unstoppable in any vehicle. Samantha developed the ability to mentally interface with electronic systems, literally becoming able to talk to machines. Young Kyle's mathematical abilities expanded to the point where he could perform complex calculations instantly, seeing patterns in everything from traffic flow to star movements. Together, they formed a small but powerful team. Using the observatory as their base, they worked tirelessly to prepare for the coming invasion. Their first major breakthrough came when Samantha found a way to modify Earth's satellite network to detect the approaching Harvester fleet. "It's like they bend space around themselves," she explained, her fingers dancing across a keyboard as she implemented her changes. "But they create a ripple effect we can track if we know what to look for." The news wasn't good. The main Harvester fleet was massive, over 30 ships, each capable of destroying a major city. They would reach Earth in less than a month. "We need to warn the world," Steve argued. "The military needs time to prepare, even if conventional weapons won't work." Against them, Queen Ilara, who now appeared openly to their small group, shook her head. "My people are watching Earth's communications. If you broadcast what you know, they will intervene immediately." "To help us?" Kyle asked hopefully. "No," Ilara said sadly. "To silence you and ensure the Harvesters focus on Earth while they strengthen their own defenses." Nathan paced the room, his mind racing. "Then we don't broadcast the truth. We show it." Using his awakened abilities, amplified through the observatory's powerful transmitting equipment, Nathan did something unprecedented. He created a global telepathic pulse that briefly allowed every human on Earth to see what he saw: the Harvester ships approaching, the threat they posed, and flashes of humanity's true origins. The worldwide reaction was immediate and chaotic. Governments issued conflicting statements. Religious leaders called emergency meetings. Ordinary people took to social media with millions of identical accounts of the same vision. "That should get their attention," Nathan said grimly as they watched the news coverage of global panic. He was right. Within hours, the first Harvester scout ship broke from orbit and disabled a military satellite. Then another destroyed a nuclear missile facility in Russia. The scouts were eliminating potential threats before the main fleet arrived. Now faced with undeniable evidence, world governments scrambled to respond. Military forces mobilized worldwide. The UN called an emergency session. Nathan and his team were located and brought to a secure facility where top scientists and military leaders demanded explanations. It was Queen Ilara who finally addressed them, appearing in her full regal glory before the assembled leaders. Her presence left no doubt about the reality of the alien threat. "Your weapons cannot harm the Harvesters," she told them bluntly. "But these awakened humans might hold the key to your survival." Tests revealed that when Nathan, Steve, Samantha, and Kyle combined their abilities, they created a telepathic field that disrupted Harvester technology. It wasn't enough to stop the entire fleet, but it proved that humans with activated abilities had power against the invaders. As the Harvester main fleet entered the solar system, Queen Ilara revealed something she had kept hidden from everyone. Even Nathan. "There is something you all must know," she said to the small team as they prepared for the final confrontation. "Something I was forbidden to tell, but you deserve to know before the end." Her galaxy eyes seemed sad as she continued. "The Harvesters and Vexirians share an origin. We were once a single species long ago. The Harvesters represent what we might become if we continue to value technological advancement above all else, consuming worlds to fuel our progress." "You're related to them?" Olivia asked, shocked. "Distant cousins. We took different evolutionary paths. My ancestors chose balance and cooperation. Theirs chose consumption and expansion." Nathan understood immediately. "That's why you're helping us against your council's wishes. You see humanity as a chance to break the cycle." Ilara nodded. "You have what neither of our species managed to retain, the perfect balance between technological skill and emotional wisdom. The Vexirian Council fears this. The Harvesters would consume it." As the Harvester mothership entered Earth orbit, humanity faced its greatest challenge. Military forces worldwide stood ready, though everyone knew conventional weapons would likely be useless. The awakened humans, now 27 in total after more were quickly found and activated, prepared to deploy their disruptive field. The attack began without warning. Harvester ships descended toward major cities around the globe. Their weapons began powering up, capable of reducing entire metropolises to ash. In a desperate gamble, Nathan and the other awakened humans linked minds with Queen Ilara, creating a massive telepathic pulse that spread across the planet. Every human on Earth felt the connection momentarily, a flash of unity unlike anything in human history. The effect on the harvester ships was immediate. Their systems faltered. Weapons powered down. Several smaller vessels crashed into unpopulated areas. Above the North American continent, the massive harvester mothership struggled against the telepathic disruption. Its shields flickered and failed. Taking advantage of the opening, Earth's combined air forces launched everything they had at the vulnerable ship. Conventional weapons barely scratched its hull, but they bought time for Nathan and the others to strengthen their telepathic attack. In orbit, Vexirian ships suddenly appeared. The High Council had detected Ilara's massive power signature and sent forces to capture her. But as they witnessed the unprecedented display of human potential, something remarkable happened.
Many Vexirian commanders refused orders to interfere, instead turning their weapons on the crippled harvester vessels. The harvester mothership, faced with failure for the first time in its long history of consumption, activated its emergency
protocols. With a blinding flash, it and the remaining fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel, fleeing the Earth system. In the aftermath, humanity stood changed forever. The world now knew of its place in the cosmos, of its special evolutionary heritage, and of both the threats and allies that existed among the stars. Queen Ilara, no longer able to return to her people after her actions, chose to remain on Earth as an ambassador. The Vexirian High Council, witnessing the power humans had displayed, reluctantly opened diplomatic channels. Nathan, forever changed by his experiences, looked up at the night sky with new eyes. The stars were no longer distant and mysterious. They were filled with life, with civilizations waiting to be discovered. "What happens now?" Olivia asked, standing beside him at the observatory telescope. Nathan smiled. "Now the real work begins. Humanity is waking up, all of us, not just the few with activated abilities. We're taking our first real steps into the universe." As if in response, a shooting star streaked across the night sky. Not a meteor, but a Vexirian ship beginning its journey home, carrying news of humanity's awakening to the wider galaxy. The secret was out, and humanity was ready.